Let's get salty!
Everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new video. Happy New Year's to everybody. And as this is the last day of 2024, I thought it would be the perfect time to give our year in review recap of Hearthstone. All the major kind of events that went on during the year, my take on everything, and why I really struggled this year to come up with the title of either, is this the worst year in Hearthstone history, or one of them? And I'm gonna go with one of them. I can't really give a big glowing recommendation or review of this year, but we're gonna go through the positives, the negatives, and just overall why, yeah, I don't think for a 10-year anniversary, this was not a great way to really celebrate things. But if you want to celebrate, it's our last day to enter our pack giveaway of $100 worth of Hearthstone packs. To enter the giveaway, like and comment in the video, link down description below, the one with that thumbnail over there. Be subscribed to the channel if we manage to hit 90,000 subscribers by tomorrow. Probably not going to happen, but if we do, I'll add another $100 worth of packs. So hit that sub button, make me go broke. So yeah, this was the year, 10-year anniversary of Hearthstone, and we're going to start off with the positives, because there were positives. Not everything, even from this guy, super salty. There are some positives, and I'll just say the biggest one, at least from Blizzard's perspective, and I think overall will help the game. Of course, Hearthstone reopening in China. Major story throughout the year. They've made a ton of money, and it's led to them now. There was job postings back in October, shortly after things opened up, and there's been even more with like the game design director, engineers. We're seeing growth within the Hearthstone team for the first time since the servers closed in China and they are laying off people. That's a good thing, right? That is a good thing. That means, you know, Blizzard hasn't given up on the game. Things, hopefully they can get the help they need, because as we go along, they need some freaking help from what I can tell. So that, pretty awesome positive. Another positive, the game has never been more accessible for new and returning players. The latest mini set saw the best returning player decks we've ever seen. Legit tier 1 decks with legendaries from the most recent expansion. That's been a great thing. So if you're looking at Hearthstone, wanting to get involved, like you get this, you get catch-up packs, you get other like apprentice track pack or decks. Like, it's never been better to access, which is great. And they have never, or they haven't at any point recently increased like prices on packs or made the game more expensive to access. There's the cosmetic sides we'll talk about later, but overall the game technically really hasn't been any cheaper to access, and the free stuff you get has really never been better. So that again is a really nice thing that we saw really push through like year after year. It's gotten better every year. We also saw the first ever pre-release Tavern Brawl with the Great Dark Beyond, where you could play your cards early and like play in like a pretty low risk format. I just think that's rad. I hope they do it again. And that was something that, you know, I feel like we've already forgotten happened, but I think it's a really cool thing. And to let you open your packs early again, which is really nice. So overall, I thought that was a great thing to add to the game, which was quite nice. Leo also added a lot of cool new achievements, the feat of strength achievements. You might even see like Raren's been achievement hunting. I did them all already, of course. I've got 100% gameplay achievements, but it's just fun. You do really silly things like complete hack the system, this terrible card on the same turn it was played. It just gives you achievement points that mean nothing other than, you know, just a little cool thing. And I really like that stuff. I'm someone that cares about my gamer score or my trophies in PlayStation. I've always liked that stuff. So again, shout out to Leo for that. Really awesome. And we saw with the 10-year anniversary, there's a lot of negatives, but this was great in terms of they added all these free new cards during the year. Hearthstone Brew, who we'll talk about later, Avatar of Hearthstone, Bob, the Champions of Azeroth cards, all the gifts were given for free and usable and help create different, like, you know, archetypes, metas. Like, a lot of them saw play. And I kind of hope this is a thing they keep doing. I don't know if it was just a 10-year anniversary thing, but I like getting the infusion of a couple new cards every once in a while, and they're always free, which is awesome. So that's kind of my positives. That's just like kind of where I cap out at, because in terms of the game itself, rough, client, rough, other monetization, rough. We're going to get into the negatives. And the reason I'm saying this isn't the worst year of Hearthstone ever. I'll just put it quite frankly, is this expansion, United and Stormwind. I would argue, you can make the argument that like Duels existed back then and was great and was really fun, and that's what I played a lot, but I feel like Stormwind literally hurt the game so much, it made people quit, that I don't know if this year's had that impact. We don't know yet, but you could see in Stormwind, it really hurt. And the only positives I could come up with that year probably is Stormwind will rotate eventually, Duels is pretty cool, and please get rid of Stormwind, right? Like, it was brutal. So let's get into the negatives of the 10-year anniversary, and there's just too many, and they're self-inflicted. This is the part that is maddening. So the first thing, Hearthstone update looking ahead. This was basically a whole thing. They had to put out multiple team blogs to kind of rally the troops around like stuff that's going on that people are upset. This was in response to them taking away free boards. Every expansion in Hearthstone, you always got a board to go with it. The Great Dark Beyond does not have a board to go with it. A spaceship thing like board, it'd be amazing. We don't have that. It's ridiculous. I still don't accept that. That should change next year. By the way, I will be doing a wish list on how to improve the game next year, and that is like #1 on there. Bring those boards back. And they basically kind of glossed over it that, well, we'll put the wild boards back in, and eventually you can customize what boards you want, which we can't do yet. And they talked about pets, which we don't know about, that they're going to do an arena update. We know a little bit about that. I'm worried is going to get ruined. But again, we'll talk about that tomorrow. But they had to do this whole thing because not only did they take boards away, but cinematics, which to me aren't as important because it's not technically in the game. I feel like the boards are literally a big part of the tavern. Huge part of it. And for the 10-year anniversary, you take that away is insane. And the last one we got is like the whiz bang one. It's so boring. It's so dull. Like, I just can't believe they made that decision. And that was one of the biggest glaring things alongside, the cinematics going away. But they also had to do an update on the weekly quests because for no good reason, at some point this year, they made them like 3 times harder to complete and gave you like 20% more XP to complete it. A horrible trade, a horrible deal, and they got flack over it. And then they kind of tried to make it a little bit easier, still got flack over it. And then they basically said, you know what? Reverted it back to what they were, but easier. Instead of playing or winning, you could play and all of that. And we got to keep the bonus XP that this had a part of. And that was great. And then they took it away again. They managed to piss everyone off, then finally make them happy. And then they took it away again, where we're back to square one, where we have the same weekly quests we had forever since like 2020. I think around then, Dark Mood Fair 2019, 2020, I think it was 2020, where they launched the whole new system and also took XP or like they added extra packs to the rewards track. It's just a mess. It's a mess that did not need to be made ever. Like, why tinker with something that was already working and you made like 3 different pivots and all of them, only one was successful where they like, is just better, and now they have it back to like it's slightly better, but we went through all of this just to piss everyone off all year, and that was like just a mainstay of the year. And they're just like, why was so much of the 10-year anniversary around weekly quests? Because some suit kept micromanaging numbers to see if they could extract 0.01% more revenue to put on the bottom line for the shareholders. Like, it's just, you gotta prioritize, man, and that was just not the way. So again, 2 back-to-back, they have to make public posts. It was brutal. The game itself also ran worse than it's ever run in Hearthstone history, where at one point you played a Titan, you'd get this screen, or just lag, crazy lag, games crashing. It's gotten a bit better, but again, it required an entire emergency patch to fix and was a constant issue throughout the year, remains a constant issue. The game still does not run great, but I can actually stream like 5 hours of Hearthstone without it crashing sometimes, whereas for a while it was like every hour at least. And again, a self-inflicted wound based on like layoffs and not having the proper, testing, not to mention like crazy things like leaking the entire Great Dark Beyond expansion in the game client and like ruining everything for like the spoils. Thankfully, people didn't really dig too much in. My videos actually did better than normal, even though all the cards were out there. But it's just another like, what are you doing type of thing where it's just self-inflicted pain throughout the game. But we're not done there yet. For the Hearthstone itself, you take a look at the expansions, super lackluster. People did not really feel much attachment to like Whizbang's Workshop, to Perils in Paradise. I still ask, where were the perils? What were the perils? Like, we went on vacation, there were was the perils the balance? I don't know, but like, those expansions didn't connect at all. The Great Dark Beyond, I will say, thematically awesome, but you know, power wise, it can't compete with the old broken crap still, that you just die from everything. But we'll talk about that later. The expansions themselves just didn't really hit. I give the Great Dark Beyond a huge thumbs up still, despite the fact like power level, not amazing, but thematically, the cards, really cool. It's just 2 of the 3. For a 10-year, I feel like you'd expect a bit more. We also had the first ever, and this was right with the 10-year anniversary, first ever early access paid card, and thankfully the devs chose one of the worst cards ever this year to go with it, Corridor Sleeper, but the only way to play this card was to spend money. You had to pre-order, whether it be the like $50 one or the $80 one, and then you had access to the card, which is the first time ever in Hearthstone a card was actually paywalled by money, because even the adventures in the back in the day, you could unlock those cards with gold. There was no way to unlock this card other than money, which is a scary precedent. That's a Marvel snap precedent. You know, they put cards behind their season pass, which you can only buy with money, and then the Series 5 cards and stuff. It's just something that Hearthstone has always had, that true free-to-play experience. Battlegrounds, not so much, as we know now, but Hearthstone itself has had that. You know, obviously, if you spend money, you can get a lot more cards freely, you can play a lot more decks freely, but at least if you want a very specific thing, you can craft it, you can make it, and this was a huge black eye on that, so much they didn't try to do it again. They only did it, and I'll give that as a positive. They listened to the feedback, saw it was a dumb decision, and it probably didn't boost their pre-orders like at all, so why get that community unrest doing that, right? That would just be silly. So again, another big blemish during the year. We also saw cosmetics at a record level at the highest priced ever that they managed to get me to skip on a diamond. This is the only diamond I don't own right now, because like $60 for one card, for me at least, because I already have both signatures, is crazy. And this is more subjective, right? The more to me, I rather they go crazy on cosmetics while keeping the rest of the game cheaper, which they have. They have never even the pre-order, with inflation, price increases everywhere, the pre-order always has like either more stuff or the same as before, and the price has never moved. And packs have always cost the same. The price has never changed on that stuff, and they have made it so that these things are insanely expensive, but at least it's like you don't need it, but it still looks really bad. And it's just something that it does upset people. It has a bad look of like, one card is $70. Are you kidding me? And yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. And even to the point where this guy, who gets like literally everything, tax write-offs at all, it's like, okay, bro, it's enough. It's enough. And that happened a lot during the year. And that also coincides with something that really upset people. Again, when the 10-year anniversary launched, was them taking the achievement thing, right? When you collected all the cards from a set, you would get a diamond card for free. Free, right? Free in quotations. You can technically get it for free, right? Especially with the mini set, those count towards everything. That could help. And they replace them with like these signatures that suck and aren't worth nearly as much, and that really upset people. And they like took what, 2/3 of the achievements away from the expansion, but they let the XP from all sets that would normally expire stick around, which I think overall was a net positive. But yeah, losing that diamond, another pretty big negative. There was also the golden Hearthstone brew thing, where they not only charged like $60 for the diamond version, you also lumped in the golden one for no reason, because nobody would ever buy that, to the point where I went onto Twitter and ranted and raved why you should give the golden one for free. It's ridiculous that you have it. And then they responded, okay. A PC Gamer made an article where yes, Hearthstone brew eventually got to everybody for free for gold, but it was just another one of these silly little greedy things. I gotta see this tweet. We gotta relive my glory years of Play Hearthstone reacting to my tweet, right? So that was just another unnecessary blemish that really upset people. Duels, beginning of the year, it got removed, and this one still sucks. I'm sorry. I don't get why they did it. They could have left it in like a static spot for people just to play. Like right now, you know how much I would love it where I'm not enjoying standard right now. I'm not enjoying wild right now. I'm super bored of arena right now. I would love to play duels. I can't even play twists because the queue times are so bad. We'll talk about twists in a second. But yes, this mode was outright removed. The only other mode to ever get removed was Classic last year for Twist, which is an even bigger slap in the face when we talk about that in a second. But there's a huge community for this mode, and I hear about it every day. Literally, there's always a comment every day about how much people miss the mode, and they could have at least like mercenaries it, right? Put it in maintenance mode, just let it sit there for people to play. No, they removed it, and I don't like that still, and I wish it would come back. I really, really do miss it. But yeah, Twist is the other thing where, okay, we lost Classic, we lose Duels. Well, we have this other variety mode called Twist where they have all these cool new rules, preset modes. No, it's down for 7 of the 12 months of 2024. Twist was down. And when it comes back, they don't advertise it, they don't promote it. So this month when by the way, they didn't even reset the ladders. I got to Legend without playing a game, which screwed everything up for me. But on top of that, there's just, I have horrible queue times. I have like 6-10 minute queue times. Nobody even knows the mode's there. Like it's crazy that they want this mode to fail. Whoever is in charge of it wants it to fail. And I am convinced of that. And yes, in 2024, 7 of the 12 months, the mode was down and there was a myriad of issues with it. Balance, there was hackers at one point literally in there, OTKing people on turn 1. It was insane, a ridiculous joke. And we lost Duels for this, we lost Classic for this, unacceptable, and a huge black eye for the whole game mode. And then yeah, Battlegrounds, adding the pay to win tokens with their why did they go pay to win? They're pay to win, whatever. Oh, they added that alongside no new mechanic with the latest season. And I've heard from a lot of Battleground streamers, their viewership is the lowest they have had in ages. The interest is the lowest ever because the only new fun feature they introduced with the latest season was for you to give Blizzard money for tokens. That's it. That's not going to excite people. That's not going to get them involved when the Bazaar is out there, TFT is out there. Yeah, and it's hurting them. And I feel bad for the team that actually cares about the game and not the monetization that have to suffer because of it. But lastly, and of course, most importantly for Hearthstone, the state of the game itself. As Brian Kibler summarized, and we've talked about it all year. For me, I have never played less ladder ever. I almost was a full-time arena streamer all year on Twitch. We put out a lot of gameplay videos and we had some fun, but overall the game is the most unfocused and confusing I've seen Hearthstone ever. We're told they want, like, we get messaging from Blizzard, right? We want board to matter. They make a card like Bob that steals stuff. We need to stop making, you know, neutral cards are too impactful. They make Ceaseless Expanse, Zilliax, and all these, like, Baron the Manager, all these cards that just dominate neutral stuff. And yeah, we want agency to be more relevant. They make more OTK cards. We make the Great Dark Beyond. We want incremental board battles. We want that to matter with our starships and our Draenei. And we make Ethereal Oracle that nukes everybody. We make Quasar, which has the sole intention of killing you in one turn. There's a complete lack of direction on the design team at the moment. There is serious design issues where we have seen a record number of card reworks, card nerfs, card buffs, where it's just too much. People can't keep up when everything is constantly their decks are being destroyed or cards are being buffed to an insane degree, where the game is, I think, in the worst state it's been since United and Stormwind. But at least Stormwind had the direction, it had the mind. We're going to nuke everybody with quest lines. That's what we're going to do. They did it. It happened. It wasn't fun for a lot of us, but it worked. What was this year? This year is so confusing. Like, nothing really added up. Nothing was consistent. Everything just got nerfed. Everything just got buffed. And nobody seems to be happy. The people that like board decks are unhappy. And the people that like the combo decks seem to be. It doesn't feel like anyone's really that happy with the Hearthstone metagame. I see Kibler being unhappy. I see like Vicious Syndicate, who really like the Stormwind meta, being unhappy and being critical of the design team. Everybody is, because there's just such a lack of cohesion, and it just doesn't make sense. And it comes down to this Hearthstone update looking ahead, this whole fun, focus, and fearless, where they want puzzly combat, they want pop-off turns, but then how does that equate to board-based starship battling and Draenei battling? That just doesn't compute. It doesn't add up. And my end of my summary of the year of why this is one of the worst years of Hearthstone is because I'm not convinced that Blizzard knows what they're doing with the game right now on almost any fundamental level. Game design, monetization, communication. The only thing we got going that's consistent is Ridiculous Hat is really good at communicating with us on Twitter the best he can. But in terms of everything else with the game, I have never been more concerned and worried about its future, because every time they make a change that seems to make sense, they do something that goes right up against it, opposite of it, to be like, wait, what? Why did we just do that, right? You know, we want your starships to work. We nerfed Reno, we nerfed Reska. Here's Bob to steal it anyways. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. So there you go. A lengthy, rambly year in review. There were positives, but overall, the negatives really large, very scary. And to me, yeah, this was one of the worst years in Hearthstone, but there's always next year. And I don't think things are completely lost. And I'll try and be constructive and helpful tomorrow, where I give my wish list for what I would do to save Hearthstone in 2025. Anyways, let me know what you guys think about this year in the comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day and stay salty, my friends.